Good morning. It is time for my first weekly wrap-up of 2024. So, Happy New Year. I've had a couple videos out this week, but I'm going to say that for all of them this week because it is a Happy New Year. I hope that you all are settling back into normal life. My kids are back in school. So that's good news. I've had some appointments today, which made this week, or not today. I had appointments this week, which made this week busier than it should have been. Oh well. Once I do, I have some videos I'm going to film today because makeup. And once I do that, I'm going to go grocery shopping. I do not like grocery shopping. But anyway, so I did post kind of like a 2023 wrap up. And then I saw a video that Jess at Stalking Kafka did, which wasn't really a tag. She got it from someone else, but it wasn't a tag, but I liked it. So I'm going to use it as a tag. So I'll have a more complete 2023 wrap up coming up next Tuesday, I think. I have to kind of really work for some of the answers on it. So hopefully I get it done in time. But anyway, so I don't really have much to report as a way of goings on this week. We might actually get snow next week. I'm not a fan, but you know, I lived in Boston for 3 years and I got my fill of snow then. I came back, you know, growing up in Oregon, it was always a big deal when we got snow. And to be clear, in Oregon, when it snows, it looks pretty and then it melts. But in Boston or New England, or probably any place that regularly gets snow and stays cold, so I'm guessing it's probably very similar in like the Midwest, but it snows and then it stays. So the snow turns like black and gross, and then it stays even when it gets warm. One of the places that I lived in Boston, it was in Brookline and it overlooked Beacon Street. So I could watch the Boston Marathon runners run out of my bedroom window. And the Boston Marathon is around the 18th of April. I don't know, is it always on the 18th of April or is it that Monday, which is Patriots Day? I don't know. Not important. Anyway, it's in mid-April. I remember one year it was 80 degrees outside mid-April, which is horrible to be running a marathon in. And I was looking over the melting snowdrifts in 80 degrees to watch the marathon runners. So that pretty much killed my love of snow. My kids are still young and innocent, so they're all about the snow. But there you go. So let me get right into my reading. And I just realized I forgot something. I'll be right back. You know, I try to be organized and I'm never quite there. Anyway, I have everything I need. So this weekly wrap up is actually just from Monday on because, like the end of 2023, I covered that in my earlier video. So this is just January 1st on. And I actually finished 2 books, which is amazing. I didn't expect to finish any books for this wrap up, but I finished 2. So the first one was So Late in the Day, Stories of Women and Men, or Men and Women, I can't remember, not important, by Claire Keegan. And this is a library hold that came in. And let's talk about this one. So it's only 3 stories, so it was easy to get done. I really love Claire Keegan, what I've read of her so far, which before this was Small Things Like These and Foster. Everyone's read about them. I don't need to talk about them because everyone's read them. But this was different. Like Claire Keegan is a fantastic writer. And these stories are very well written. But there is like a vein of, and it took me a while to really put my finger on it, but a vein of anger in these stories. That was surprising, I guess. The first story was okay. The second story was probably the one that worked. I can't remember the exact. The first one was Small Things Like These. The second one, I cannot remember the exact name of the title. Something about death. I don't know. That one was probably my favorite of the 3. It dealt with like a writer who was on a retreat, but then someone wanted to come see the place where she was staying. And I could kind of understand understand the feelings. I shouldn't say understand. I could empathize very well with the the main character of that one. So I like that one. And then the third one was Antarctica, which is actually in one of the short story collections that I have that I will be reading this year. So I will not have to read it when I get up to it. That was a weird one because it was almost a thriller, which was very unexpected, at least for me, from Claire Keegan. Now, after I read some more of her stuff in her short story collections, I may not feel that way. But for this one, it was very surprising. It also dealt a lot with adultery, which I don't really like. I ended up giving this collection a B, which is lower than I normally give short story collections, but it's just a different thing. I still love Claire Keegan. I'm still going to keep reading her. Now, the second book I finished, I have a copy of, but I don't have a copy of here because my daughter took it. And that is 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes. I had been listening to Natalie Haynes Stands Up for the Classics, the podcast version. So I've been listening to that and really enjoying it. But my daughter, as I have said before, loves Greek mythology. And I've been kind of looking for books that she could read that were appropriate, which is a big sell for Greek mythology because there's a lot of stuff in Greek mythology, although she knows it all. Like, I found this podcast once, which was like Greek mythology for kids, and we were listening to it, and she's like, Mom, that's not what happened. And then she told me what really happened, and I was like, well, that's kind of R-rated. So I don't know why I am like having to preview these, but I know that there's someone warned me on one of them, and I can't remember what it was. I think it was one of the Madeline Miller books. I said it was really open door. So I'm just testing the waters, but also I was really excited to read something by Natalie Haynes, and I really enjoyed this one. This is the Trojan War through the eyes of the women, and I thought it was so beautifully done. And there was even a passage I wanted to read to you, but again, my daughter took it, so I can't read that passage. But anyway, I really enjoyed this one. I gave it an A+. My daughter is, as I said, she wanted to read it. She was really excited about reading it, which is good. I like that. I may force my husband to read it because I was telling him about it last night, and he said, "Well, women don't really have a point of view on the Trojan War," which, first of all, horribly misogynistic. No matter how you put it, that's just a misogynistic thing to say. Second of all, the Trojan War was fought over a woman, so why wouldn't women have a view on it? But anyway, I might force him to read it. Not that I have ever successfully forced him to do anything, but yes. So Natalie Haynes, 1,000 Ships. I have Stoneblind in my Libro queue. I heard that one is a good one to listen to on audio. So I will be doing that one pretty soon. And if it is appropriate, then I will buy a copy so that I can have it and my daughter can borrow it. We had a discussion this morning before she went to school. I said, I am not giving this to you. You are borrowing it from me. So I want it back in somewhat good condition. So we'll see how that goes. She currently also has Murder at the Vicarage out from me. So we're going to see how this borrowing books from Mom's Keeper shelf goes. Anyway, so now I have a lot of books to cover for my currently reading, although some of these books you won't see again for a while because I have a year-long read and I have some short story collections. But let's go into it. I think I have 9 books going right now, which again, yeah, that's a lot. But, you know, there's some special considerations over it. The first one, I'm not actually reading right now, but I'm going to be starting it today. And that is The Good House by Tananarive. This is the February book for my Marginals and Margaritas book club. Normally, I wouldn't start it this early, but it is big. And I thought, I really don't want to feel rushed. So I'm just going to start it now. And, you know, tab things up, take notes, do whatever I need to do so I can discuss it in February. I can't remember what day, but it's the second Saturday in February, then when we will be discussing this. This is the first time I have read Tananarive, but I have heard good things about her. People are talking about her a lot right now because of her next book, The Reformatory, came out recently, and that's a lot of people have been reading that. So this is the book. I don't know if it's our first book. I should probably check that, but it is the book that comes that she wrote before The Reformatory. So yeah, The Good House by Tananarive. And then I have 2 other in-print books that are not short story collections. So I am doing Historathon 2024, and in this first quarter, we are doing prehistory up to 600. You only have to read, well, you don't have to do anything, but the idea is you read like 4 books, 1 each quarter. Well, I'm like apparently reading 1 a month, but to kind of go along with 1,000 Ships and giving books to my daughter, I have 24 Hours in Ancient Athens, A Day in the Life of the People Who Live There by Philip Matyszak. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name. I'm guessing. So this is a really fun, there's 24 different little chapters in it, and it starts, midnight to 1 o'clock our time. It starts actually, what does he call it? The 7th hour of night, because I guess they did time differently. And it's really looking at the everyday experience of average people in Athens. It's pretty fun right now because it's like a bunch of little stories, really. I'm enjoying it. I'm reading just 1 or 2 a day, and I will pass this on to my daughter when I'm done. And I'm glad I'm enjoying it because the next book I have is about ancient Rome, and it's also at least co-written by Matyszak, and I didn't realize that when I ordered it. So then I have the first of my Shakespeare books, The Winter's Tale. I am reading this a couple scenes a day, so I am currently at Act 3, Scene 3. People have just died of emotional distress. That's where I am. This is an interesting, I like this starting with this one because I am going into this one completely blind. So the histories, I'm not going into those blind. The major plays, I've either read them or I know the stories, but this one's one I didn't know anything about. So I'm just going in blind. People have just been whoa and dropped dead. So I'm not even really sure if this is a tragedy or what's going to happen, but we'll see. We will see. I am enjoying it. I am very impressed with myself at how well I'm doing reading the Shakespeare. I remember when I was reading this in school, it was like always having the notes and always trying to figure out what's going on. And now as an adult, I can read it, and I have the Folgers Shakespeare library. So they do have like annotations and stuff. Then they're there that I can check them if I want to, but I'm not needing to do it that much. I'm understanding what's being said. So that is great. I just checked a book out of the library. I will talk about it in the future because I will probably be getting to it soon, which is a retelling of this. I will start that once I finish this. But as I said, I'll probably be done with this in a couple days. So A Winter's Tale. And if you are joining me in my Shakespeare journey, the Bard Room thread is up and going on my Discord, information down below. We've been chatting a little bit about it. Digital. I have started my year-long read of Les Misérables, my year-long reread. So this is a reread for me. However, I've only read it once before, and I was a junior in high school. And I also don't think, I need to see if I still have the copy that I had. I think I do. But I don't think that translation was as good as the one that I have now. So I think a lot of it went, whew. Plus I was reading it because I love the musical. So this is I'm reading the new Penguin one. I think it's Christine Donaher, something like that, is the translator. And it is fantastic. It is really readable. Its language is so beautiful. We have a really good discussion going on my Discord. Again, another thread for that. So if you're interested, join down there. And this is a year-long read because Les Misérables has 365 chapters. So you read a chapter a day, and the chapters are not long. And because this is a leap year, you have a catch-up day somewhere if you want to. So I am not going to mention this again until I finish it. So if I stay right on target, which past experiences that I will get to a point and I'll just go ahead and finish it. But if I were to stay on target, I will finish it December 30th. So I'm not going to mention it again. I mean, if you want to know what I think about it, go to my Discord and see the discussion there. But there's no need to bring it up every single week until, for the next 51 weeks. Also on digital, I am finally reading, yes, Sue Jackson. It is my first Tana French book. I have never read Tana French, although I own some of her books, but I've never read them. I am reading In the Woods, which is the first of the Dublin Murder Squad. I had to think about that because I almost said Thursday Murder Club, but no, Dublin Murder Squad. Very different book. And I'm really enjoying it. It is harsh, I will say. It's definitely not cozy. It's definitely gritty in parts, but I'm liking the characters. I am liking the storytelling. I think it's a well-crafted mystery so far. I have a hunch of what might have happened, but we'll see if I'm right. I am like 30-something% into it, so we'll see. But I am really enjoying In the Woods by Tana French. And then on audio, I am listening to Better Living Through Birding by Christian Cooper, which is nonfiction. Now, if you do not know Christian Cooper, basically here's his story. A few years ago, there was a woman in Central Park in New York City. I don't know her name. I don't want to give her name if I did know it because I don't want to give her to publicity, but we're going to give her a name. Let's call her Karen. Not to be confused with the Karens who read and comment my channel, who are either very nice or have a dark twisty side, and you know who you are. This Karen. So she's in New York. She's in Central Park in New York City, and she sees this African-American gentleman with binoculars and calls the police on him. And it was a big, huge ordeal about this. Well, this gentleman was Christian Cooper, and he is a Harvard-educated, he's like works in the magazine industry, publishing industry. He's a bird watcher. And, you know, it was a big brouhaha, which, you know, in retrospect worked out very badly for Karen, and pretty well for Christian Cooper, because I'm reading his memoir and he has a TV show now. So, but he's a great person. It's like, this is his memoir of growing up. So yeah, he's an African-American birdwatcher, but he was also like a nerdy Black kid who was dealing with his sexuality growing up. And he's funny, and he does such a wonderful job of tying all these things together. So he's talking about his angst growing up, being in the closet, and also what that's like. How is that affected by him being African American? And how do you compare those two experiences? But also, how does bird watching help him deal with it? So he goes on and on and on about it. And he talks about the wonderful things about being outside. And even in a place like New York City, where he lives, although he does travel everywhere to go bird watching, but he lives in New York City, he's still able to go out and find nature. This is such, and he narrates it. It's funny. It's delightful. I'm really, really enjoying it. One heads up though, and this might not apply to anybody. It might just be me and my crazy cat who I forgot to feed this morning. I need to feed her. Anyway, I know what I'm doing next. There are bird sounds in this audiobook, and I was listening to it not on my AirPods or my headphones, and the bird sounds came on, and it drove my cat crazy. So if you have a cat, that might be a possibility, and you might need to wear headphones or earphones with this just to keep them sane. So, but I'm loving this one. And again, that is Better Living Through Birding by Christian Cooper. Now, you know me, I'm a big short story person, and I've decided 3. I was saying 4, but now I'm saying 3. It's my sweet number of short story collections to go on at once. And I kind of like read a story in each and rotate through them. So I started 3 at the beginning of this month. So I won't mention them again until I finish them, but I want to tell you what I currently have going. And the first is Partners in Crime by Agatha Christie. So this is the Tommy and Tuppence collection. So if you aren't familiar, Agatha Christie has several sort of detective characters. The big ones are, of course, Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple, but she also has this pair of people, Tommy and Tuppence, and they get married early on in their literary existence. They're very different. So I like Tommy and Tuppence, but I like them in small doses. So short stories are really a better way to deal with them so far. I've read some of the short stories. So in this book, I'm only reading the ones I haven't read. So there are ones in here I have already read. But I have also read The Secret Adversary, which was the novel in which they were introduced. And I, at least based on that, I much prefer them in short story form and kind of sprinkled in with other stuff. They're like 1920. There's a lot of banter, and it's a little bit silly. It's very different than Poirot or Marple or Superintendent Battle or any of these other ones that come on. But it is something that for me works better in small doses. So Partners in Crime. Now, when I finish this, I will replace it with another Agatha Christie collection. I have Parker Pyne Investigates, and I have the Mysterious Mr. Quinn, and I have the summer one, the summer collection, which by the point I get to that one, I may have already read all the stories. We'll see. Anyway, so I have like 3 or 4 more collections to go for short stories. And then I think I have to check and see, I might have read all her short stories at that point. I don't know. So anyway, Agatha Christie. And then I have The Best American Mystery and Suspense, 2023, edited by Lisa Unger. So far, I have read one story out of this called Ripen by Ashley Ruth M. Bernier, who I have never heard of, but I kind of enjoyed. I mean, I shouldn't say kind of. I did. I did really enjoy that story. It's set on in the Virgin Islands, which I thought was really interesting because I can't remember ever reading anything set in the Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands. So that is an author that I haven't even looked at her. I haven't even looked at her autobiography. I mean, her bio in here. I want to see if she has more stuff because I would like to read more from her. And that's what I really like about these anthologies, is because it is an easy way to be introduced to authors you have never heard of or never tried. That being said, this also includes, I'm just quick, who pumps out in my room? Silvia Moreno Garcia is in this. Joyce Carol Oates is in this. With an overly long story, just saying. Joyce Carol Oates is a little bit wordy. Jess Walter. I love me some Jess Walter. Jess Walter's in this. So there's some really big names in here as well. So working for that one. And when I finish this one, I do have the Best American Short Stories of 2023. I believe that this year was edited by Minjin Lee. I think it's up on my shelf. That's what I will replace this one with. And then finally, this is not one that I had initially had planned to start the year with, but it was my December Book of the Month selection, and I thought, why not? And that is Tomb Sweeping by Alexandra Chang. This is, I believe, a debut. She was a National Book Foundation 5 Under 35 nominee. Read that in the back of hers. I'm really enjoying these. This one is surprisingly enjoyable for so far. I mean, I think I've read 3 stories out of it. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this one. So I don't know what I would replace this with, but that was the one I'm working on now. You won't be seeing those again until I finish them. So there you go. Because it just gets really tiring for me to talk about the same books every time. So anyway, that's what's going on this week. I am about to batch film some videos, so I'm going to end this now. I want to thank you all for joining me. Like, subscribe, feel free to join my Discord. As I said, that is where we are talking about both Les Misérables and The Winter's Tale and anything else we want to talk about. We're like showing pictures of our pets and all sorts of things like that. And please join that. That's down. It's really fun. And that's it. So thank you very much for joining me. I will see you in the next video. Bye.